We're gonna get into some true crime here for just a second. A couple different stories I want to talk about. First story I want to talk about is the Bryan Kohberger case. Bring back mandatory sentences, yes. First story I want to talk about right now is the Bryan Kohberger case. There has been new documents dropped on this case. Bryan Kohberger has motioned for permission to seal his stay and asked permission to appeal the interlocutory orders judge has shut down. So I didn't know what that word meant, so I looked it up. Interlocutory appeal, locutory, in the law of civil procedure in the United States occurs when a ruling by a trial court is appealed while other aspects of the case are still proceeding, allowed under specific circumstances which are laid down by federal and separate state courts. An appeal is described as interlocutory when it is made before all claims are resolved as to all parties. For instance, if a lawsuit contains claims for breach of contract, fraud, interference, whatever, and if there are 3 defendants in the lawsuit, then all 3 claims are resolved as to the 3 defendants. Any appeal by any party will be considered interlocutory. So here's what I would think in terms of the Kohberger case, right? Remember all of Bryan Kohberger's King Road house gets torn down and all, yes. Remember all of the requests for discovery. I would think that would be a reason for Bryan Kohberger to essentially say, man, fuck this. Fuck this. We can't do this right now. To either dismiss this shit, put a stay on it, do something. Let's take a look at this real quick. Taking a look at the documents. Order sealing defendant's motion for interlocutory. There's got to be a reason also that Bryan Kohberger wants this sealed. Has to be. There has to be some sort of reason. The court having before it a motion to seal defendant's motion for interlocutory and good cause appearing now, therefore. It is hereby ordered that the defendant's motion to reconsider orders denying motions to dismiss indictment and the alternative for permission to appeal from interlocutory orders and stay of proceedings filed with the court on December 21st shall be sealed. He wants that information sealed. I wonder what the fuck the deal was with that. I wonder why he wants that shit sealed. Now, one of the things we hadn't talked about over here is that the prosecution wants this to be a summer trial. They want to go to trial in summer. But if they still haven't handed over all the discovery, I don't understand how this could be. Kohberger, by and through his attorney, Ann Taylor, hereby moves the court for an order to seal the defendant's motion to reconsider orders denying motion. So basically, he's wanting the judge to reconsider dismissing the indictment, but he wants that information left private. He wants it sealed. I'm curious as to why Bryan Kohberger. Now, I don't understand how they can destroy a crime scene without a conviction or even trial beginning. You would think the crime scene would be the most important part of the goddamn trial. I'm confused as to why. I'm curious. Kohberger's and his defense are staying on this dismiss the grand indictment thing. Now, the judge is denying it, but I'm like, okay, what is going on? Like, there's something got to be going on for them to keep pulling down, putting forward these motions. The house being torn down, his nuts, trial hasn't even started. Yeah, it's evidence, right? Like, you would think that the crime scene is evidence. I will be honest, though. I'm going to say something that's going to be a shocker to everybody. I'm going to be honest. The more I read comments on my true crime page, the more I hate being lumped in with these people. Let me explain. Whose DNA is in the house is so important. So important, of course. I wish I could tell you all the comments for weird shit. All the comments I get, and because I'm a pro innocent until proven guilty guy, I get lumped in with these nut jobs. The crime circuses of the world. Drip drop. The people that believe there's tunnels underneath the house when there's not. I've showed the blueprints. I've showed the blueprints to the house. There is no basement and there is no tunnels under the house. But you know what these commenters do? They'll say shit like, you're wrong, JB. There is tunnels under Moscow. Yes, but not the house. Not the house. I sit and I watch these people. And they will come up with anything, any conspiracy. And to know that I'm lumped in with them simply because I'm an innocent until proven guilty guy makes me sick to my stomach. Because a lot of these people are complete nut jobs. A lot of these people, like, I get comments saying, I think Steve Gonsalves did it. You know how fucking retarded you have to believe that Steve Gonsalves went in there and killed all 4 people? What is your reason for thinking that? These people, a lot of these people in my true crime comment section are retarded as fuck. Even the people that's on my side was innocent until proven guilty. See, they don't look at it like that. They don't look at it as just innocent until proven guilty. Like, they blame everybody. Drip drop pointing the finger at the goddamn school president. He doxed his house, his location. He's like, look how close the school president is to the motherfucking house. And look how when he drove to work, he could just look over and see it through the trees. These people are retarded, man. They just make up shit for content. And then even worse is that the goddamn audience members are just as retarded. They believe it. There was motherfuckers arguing with me in my goddamn comment section because they said a spirit boxer or a psychic somehow solved this case a long time ago. I said, get the fuck out of here. You fucking weirdos, you nut jobs. I think you need to watch the spirit YouTuber. Man, get your bitch ass out of here. You don't understand. They got cards and they draw the cards and the cards say Kohberger on it, JB. Get your bitch ass out of here. You fucking dummies. It's so ridiculous. JB, don't you think Chief Fry did it? No, I don't. Well, JB, you got to think hard. Maybe the chief of police went in the tunnels underneath the house and came up and said, boo, gotcha. You're a dummy. You're a dummy. A fucking dummy. You know, I have real questions about this shit. I was a mod for one and left because of what you're saying, JB. Yeah. Hold on, I'm dropping frames. Let me see what's going on with my computer. Let me make sure I'm still live here. Yeah, I'm still live. Okay. I should be all right. Now, I have real questions about this case. There's some real questions that need to be asked. See, a lot of people talk about the 8 hours that Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk didn't call the cops. And I definitely question that. How much did the crime scene get destroyed in those 8 hours? I do question that. Like, how much DNA or evidence can be legitimately trusted in a crime scene that you're tearing down, and the 8 hours of it existed where there was a bunch of people running in and out of the crime scene? Why were the 6 cars outside of the house towed? And they weren't towed to go to the police station. They were towed to go to a fucking lot so the owners could pick them up. And once you towed them, any evidence that was there on, like in my opinion, it all should have stayed there. Nothing should have been moved out of the house. Everything should have been left as is. How did the DNA really get taken? How did the DNA really get taken? Let me explain. Let me explain. Bryan Kohberger, they initially got to because of basically they saw there was the Elantra issue. They saw the ID. They saw the bushy eyebrows, all of that, right? Okay. Did they get the DNA from the neighbor's trash or for his trash? Was it up against the house or was it on the street? We still do not know the answer to that one. Because what people have said is that the trash was sat out. Do they mean on the street for pickup or next to the house where everybody else's trash is? Because I have trash sitting right outside on my carport because it's not time to take it out yet. If I have trash on my property, on my carport, by my garage, by my house, that's not out in public. You can do you see what I'm saying? How was the DNA received? Because here's the thing. We've talked about touch DNA. So apparently they went to the neighbors. They got DNA. The initial DNA test on the blade or on the knife sheath showed nothing. So then they decided to send it to someone else. This DNA has been through a bunch of chain of possession, all kinds of shit. Then what they do is they use an unproven scientific method based on some trash in someone else's property. You didn't get this trash from my property. You didn't get my DNA. If I'm Bryan Kohberger, this is what I'll be saying. You didn't get my DNA at all from me. You did an illegal search into somebody else's property, grabbed shit. You still didn't get my DNA. You didn't even, so here's what you did. You ran the DNA through this bullshit that you do, the genetic shit. And apparently it was like a third or fourth cousin or some shit like that literally did one of them DNA tests and somehow links to Bryan Kohberger. I would question that DNA a lot, and they did question the DNA. And I think that is what, I want you to understand, that's what the discovery thing and all of which they can't take DNA out of state, yes. They drove and flew that sample out of state. The DNA, in my opinion, was collected inappropriately. And I'm not trusting it. It's touch DNA, which is too easily transferred. I'm not trusting it. You know, when you look at us, now let me ask you this. Why would you here's another thing. I want you to listen to this, okay? Listen carefully. From November, I think it was 22nd, to December 28th, there was a whole month of time, a whole month gap from when they knew Bryan Kohberger was the guy. The DNA would have to be compromised. Exactly. Listen carefully. At the end of November is when they determined that Bryan Kohberger was their suspect. It was only like 2 weeks after the murders. They found the Elantra they were looking for, which, by the way, they didn't even ask you about till December 7th. So during this period of time, they found the Elantra. They got the warrants for his phone. All of this. They saw his ID and the bushy eyebrows. They said, this is our guy. Let me ask you a question. In a normal situation, what occurs when the police suspect someone of a crime? What do they do? When the police suspect an individual potentially committing a crime, what usually happens in every case, almost including murders all over this country, all over the place? What usually does the police do if they suspect someone of a crime? Let's see if anybody here can answer this question. What usually occurs? Just curious. Because I got an answer. Since you motherfuckers ain't answering, bring them in for questioning. Thank you. It's literally what I wrote. In an entire month, they never brought that man in for questioning. They usually bring you in. Have you ever seen the first 48? They do it all the time. So if you believe Bryan Kohberger is the suspect in a quadruple murder, why wouldn't you bring him in for questioning? Hey, we'd like you to come down to the station and have a few words with us. Number two, why would you let evidence, and let me explain to you why that's important. Surveillance, yes. Let me also explain to you why that's important. You don't want evidence destroyed. In 1 month, they allowed Bryan Kohberger to drive all the way across the country, and then they went to collect DNA. Hear me out. Bryan Kohberger was still in school. Bryan Kohberger hadn't left for vacation yet. Why would you let evidence, like potential evidence, like blood or something inside of a car? Like, why wouldn't you bring them in? Why would you let evidence drive off without even questioning them all the way across the country? Number three, why would you need to go get DNA from Pennsylvania? Bryan Kohberger still was at school. It was his job. Couldn't you have surveillanced him and got his DNA? What's up, Gordon? Couldn't you have surveillanced Bryan Kohberger and got his DNA from his job, his apartment, anything before he left across the country? You knew for an entire 2 weeks before he left, at the very least, 3 weeks actually. There was a whole month gap between the time that they decided it was Kohberger and his arrest. And in that month, they allowed Kohberger to go all the way across the country, all this other shit. And he did get pulled over twice in that drive, which makes it even funnier. These are questions, legit questions that need to be answered. I don't know. Second thing, gather evidence, warrant for blood sample, 100%. Now, I don't know if Kohberger did this or not, but what I am saying is Kohberger is innocent until proven guilty. And right now, there is not enough evidence to find him guilty. Because the cops, the feds, they fucked up. They dropped the ball. This was a horrible job by law enforcement, and that's the truth. So even if Kohberger did it, I'm still saying not guilty. There's not enough here. I'm not one of these goddamn weirdos thinking there's tunnels underneath the fucking house and shit like that. I'm saying that there's not enough evidence and the police bungled the investigation from day one. Agreed, Rottweiler. So now you have to ask yourself, why? Why were the police so inept? Why were the police so inept? Why did they fumble the ball so much? We're talking about a quadruple murder. Something reeks about this for sure. Yes. Why would they just think about it. If you think somebody killed 4 people and you're the police and the feds, would you just let them just chill out and roll around, drive all the way across the country? Hell no, you wouldn't. And you didn't even bring the motherfucker in for questioning? Or get a warrant to search his car? You didn't get a warrant to search his car to see if there was any blood before he left? Case will end up dismissed. I agree completely. Or hung jury. Hung jury is the likely scenario. Hung jury is the likely scenario. And here's the thing. I don't know if Kohberger did it or not. But since it's a death penalty case, you better be damn sure he did it before you put him to death. Is anyone from the government linked to the house or the people in it? No, not at the moment. But there's something up with the school. It's right next to the University of Idaho. There's some goofy shit. 50% of Moscow is funded by the school. The 50% of their economy is from the school. There's definitely a cover-up going on here. I just don't know why. I just don't know why. That's the sad truth about all this. There's definitely some fuckery. Why is the question? Anyone think they have more on him than we know? Nope. I've said it a million times. Nope. Here's something that normal people that doesn't go to jail. You gotta remember, I've been in jail and prison. Here's the truth. The arrest affidavit, the PCA, the probable cause to arrest you, has the majority of the information in it. I'd say 85 to 90%. And the other 10 to 15% is shit that they will get during investigation after they arrest you. Do you see what I'm saying? Every affidavit that I've ever had against me had 100% of the information in it. Every single probable cause affidavit I've ever seen in all of my arrests ever had 100% of the case they were going to use against me in it. Every one. There was never no secret evidence that they were waiting till trial to give. Nope. And in cases where that does happen, it's because they found something after the arrest. So there is possibly, that's why I say 85 to 90%. I got a whole playlist on the True Crime channel, Military Vet. And that's the one thing that people continuously say. How do you know they ain't got more? Because they typically don't. I'm not saying there's not nothing they could have got through the investigation after the arrest. It's been a year now. But people have been saying this from day one, and I'm like, you don't know fucking law. And you've never obviously been through any cases like this, or never any cases in general. Because, like I said, every arrest I've ever been in, 100% of the case against me was in the probable cause affidavit. $100%. And so, and everybody that's saying that the government is somehow holding back evidence that would help them, they've never been involved in these cases. Because why wouldn't you slam the door on the case? It's just the truth. I keep seeing people in the comments section of the True Crime channel saying, They got video evidence of Bryan Kohberger in the house. No, they don't. If they did, we'd have knowledge of it. That shit would have leaked out a long time ago. Who requested the destruction? I understand it being condemned, but not erasing it. Well, the owner immediately gave it to the school, and the school's destroying it, Joe. The school's destroying it. Let that sink in. But no, normal people that watch true crime shit, they think that the government's just holding on and there's going to be this big reveal at the trial. No, there's not. No, there's not. Think about all the trials we've watched in our lifetime, whether it be OJ, whether it be, it could be anything. Kyle Rittenhouse. Everything that they had at trial was literally in the PCA. The arrest warrant. You see what I'm saying? It was all there. We didn't get any surprises during them trials. Not really, not by the prosecution. We got some from the defense, but not the prosecution. The prosecution wants to make their case and their PCA as strong as possible, especially if you're going through a grand jury because you want the grand jury to indict the motherfucker. That's the truth. So no, when it comes to that Kohberger shit, I'll just say this, there's a lot of goofiness going on. I'm going to try not to read the True Crime Channel's comments too much anymore because, you know, I get to hearing some of the theories and goofiness and that makes me just want to, turn away. Different system here out there in, I think, UK, but I've heard at other channels that they would have more on him than we know. No, that's what they all say. Those are all people that's never been to jail. No, the other true crime channels all suck. All of them. They're all just making shit up as fans on their couch watching crime TV. None of them have ever been through the system. They have no clue what the fuck they're talking about. Not even former cops. Now, if you're a former prosecutor or lawyer, I'll listen to you. Like the lawyer you know, whatever his name is. Because he knows what I'm talking about. He knows what he's talking about. The cops don't hold on for this grand reveal like it's a wrestling pay-per-view. Wait till the wrestling pay-per-view. We're going to swerve you. You see what I'm saying? That's not the way law works. That's not the way law works. They're not going to do this grand reveal, shocker, like a new wrestler popping up at a wrestling show. No, it's not the way it works. It's not a movie. Yep, and most of them block anyone who types anything in the comments they disagree with. Yeah. But you know why they think that? Because there's so little evidence. And the people that think Bryan Kohberger is guilty, there's so little evidence, they said there's got to be more. No, there doesn't. But you see, that's what it is. There's got to be more. Because they know the evidence is so weak. That's why they say that. It's got to be better than this. It's just the truth. But it is what it is. When it comes to Kohberger, the trial's coming. And I cannot wait to sit here and cover the trial every day. And then in the end, stand before everybody and say, I told you so. Not because I think Bryan Kohberger is innocent. I don't know if he did it or not. All I know is that the information is wrong. I mean, it's not enough. What are you drinking? This is whiskey. Jim Beam right now. I was drinking Jameson earlier, but I finished that shit up. Just some Jim. But anyway, that's it for the Kohberger case.